Welcome back to Making Money Matter, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kerry Stevenson, and today I'm talking with Kevin O'Neill. He's the CEO of EQ Resources. The ASX code is EQR, really easy to remember. I'm going to ask Kevin about a whole bunch of things today, but it's all about tungsten. Now, here's a fun fact for you, and I'm sure Kevin knows this, but tungsten means heavy stone in Sweden. Most tungsten at the moment comes out of either China or Russia. But where EQ are operating it's a tough area, ladies and gentlemen, really tough, far north Queensland, just out of Port Douglas. I think I'm probably talking to you, Kevin, from Port Douglas at the moment. Welcome to Making Money Matter, or should I say Making Tungsten Matter today?
Yeah. Hi, Kerry. Good to see you. And no high vis on tonight. You'll see, eh? That's you caught me in beautiful Port Douglas and my home here. But yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, well, it's the first time we've had you on the channel. So let's start off by just asking, give our audience a brief overview of who are EQ Resources. I mentioned it. You're up in far north Queensland. It's a tungsten project, but just give us a
Yeah.
little bit of background.
Yeah, so we've been at it for about 3 years myself here. I've come in to develop this project, and we've taken it all the way from, I think it was something like 7, 8 million market cap up to 100 million, 110 million market cap, and the share prices increased 300% over the last 3 years. So, yeah, we're doing okay with that. And so EQ is we have about 100 employees and another 30, 40 contractors on site currently, and we have just entered the open pit phase of the operation, a hard rock mining phase. We've been mining the tailings and the waste rock dumps, and now we're solidly into it.
To talk to us about Mt Carbine, you said, the past 2 to 3 years. Kevin, what attracted you to this project, and why did you think you could, I guess, give more value to this project along the way?
Yeah, I guess we come from we all come out of the CRONIMET group, and then we were using XRT sorters, and we found that Mt Carbine had a 12 million ton dump that we believe tungsten is one of the best ore sorting minerals that you can get, and so we hunted this down specifically to find a large waste dump in particular, and then we bought the mineral rights and we carried on from there, right? But that's how we came about it, and then yeah, I moved over here and took on the CEO role. So it's a hardship post, like you say.
It's a hardship post, but talk to us about what you're doing right now, because we will get into the announcement you've just made, which is about the acquisition of the Spanish acquisition, ladies and gentlemen, the Spanish Inquisition. We're going to get into that in a moment, because I think that's given some de-risking to EQ Resources as well. But before we get into that, back to Mt Carbine,
Yeah.
what's the life of mine? What's the economics around it?
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's about a 10-year mine life currently, and we feel we're only mining about 15% of the known resource in the open pit phase. Like, we certainly intend to go underground. There's very high grade chutes that we can go underground on vein systems, and that's the next phase of the development for us, and the drilling and the excitement going to be around is developing that other 85% of the resource, and we've had very good conversion from resource to reserves at Mt Carbine. I even think we're in the plus phase of that, if you can believe it. That we've actually converted better after we drilled it tighter. The reserves became better than the resource in the area. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Is just in the development phase of the operation now. So it's solidly commissioning. Everybody's in the pit. All the trucks are going, drill blasting. So we're about 2 months in on the open pit.
This might sound like a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Tungsten, in terms of processing and how you get the tungsten from being in the ground to being an offtake material, is that
Yeah.
complicated?
Yeah, you're into my field now. That's what I like to talk about. But anyway, the a very simple process. It's just gravity. We just use water and the weight of the tungsten, which is very heavy, to separate it out. And we use just a straightforward flow sheet. We crush it all down to sort of your fist size minerals. We put it through the ore sorters. We get rid of 90% of the material right there in waste, and it's working absolutely perfect, even with the high grade ore. One of our concerns was what happens when you get the high grade ore out of the open pit. Are you going to see recovery? And yes, we're seeing very good recovery through the ore sorters with that material. So we're really pleased. And then he just put it through some jigs and shaking tables, right? Just standard conventional. That 10% just goes down to the gravity plant, and we take it out with that. So we're very lucky with the mineralization.
And who does it then go to? Who's your off takers? And I
Yeah,
want
so
to.
Cronymet. Yeah, so Cronymet is they take 100% of our material. So they invested early into the project. We had a joint venture with Cronymet. We still have a joint venture with Cronymet, and in the gravity plant and on the waste dumps in particular, but not the hard rock. But so that is so Cronymet take 100% of it. As soon as we drop it on the pad, they buy it from us. So we get 20 tons. There's your check. So it's a great arrangement, and they have fair market value arrangement.
Okay, fair market value. Because I mentioned earlier in the conversation that China and Russia are, they're the big
Yep.
guys when it comes to tungsten. What's the
Yep.
what's the demand like? What's the price like? Because I want to understand. I know that you did a BFS a little while ago. Um,
Yep.
is that demand and that price going in the right direction?
It's staying stable. That's about how I could put it. It's about 320, what we call an MTU, or $32,000 a ton of 100% concentrate. So yeah, so bankable feasibility. I think we did 335 an MTU. So it's very stable. It goes up and down a little bit, but it's not we feel the big turning point for tungsten is probably going to be the U.S. military is not buying any more Chinese tungsten after 2026, and also the niable batteries, the fast charging batteries. One of the tungsten refiners has invested $50 million into this battery that charges electric vehicles, robots, you name it, in 6 minutes. So we feel that they're putting their first factory in 2025, right? And we think those could be a real game changer for tungsten for demand on the demand side.
Yeah, certainly sounds like it because we all know that there's EV vehicles. The charging time can be a bit of an issue. That
Yeah.
sounds quite interesting. So, you mentioned there's a 10-year mine life in the open pit, but there's a decline, isn't there, from past history?
Yeah. Historic 1985. The guys put in a very large decline, about a half a kilometer underground, and it's our intention sometime in the next few months to go in and reopen that, drill it off, put it through the bankable feasibility study. So yeah, we are working on that currently, getting costings, and so yeah, sorry, and design to see which is the best way to approach it. But first is drilling, is to go in underground and do some drill cutties and drill some more.
Kevin, do you have some challenges around cost inflation? There's a lot of talk at the moment. I mean, I see it in my everyday life. Inflation, it's everywhere. It's embedded. It's not going away. Does that affect how you look at this project, or is it robust enough to withstand some inflationary pressure?
Yeah, it's a good project. It's fairly robust, right? But we're kind of farmers, right? We get some money and then we build something, right? We make a bit more money and we build another piece on the planet. So that's how this project has developed. So therefore, we've had very modest capital and we did it with offtake and non-conventional. We relied on our suppliers to lease some equipment to us, and so the debt that we carry is all like internal debt. We don't have debt on the project to save. I think there's one of the directors has $1.5 million that he's put into the project for us, and Yeah. So, but nothing of consequence in the on the project.
That actually is quite interesting. You almost said it as a throwaway line, but one of the directors put 1.5 million into the project. That means he's very confident about the future. That to me is a big tick when you hear that these people have got skin in the game. But we're going to run out of time, and I think it's really important that we make note of the fact that you've just made an acquisition over in Spain. As if you're not busy enough at Mount Carbine. I really want to find out the strategy and I guess the rationale behind why you would go across to Spain and pick up yet another project.
Yeah, yeah, we've been looking for another tungsten project that sorts as well as Mount Carbine because we really see this as disruptive into the business, right? This is a game changer and our sorting expertise. So we looked around at various projects and what can you do, and Solero popped and was available. Oak Tree had it on the market for a while. Other players have looked at it as well. It's a tougher project than Carbine. The grade is a bit lower, the strip ratio is a bit higher, but they have a world-class plant there. They probably invested close to $200 million into the plant, and it is just a beauty. So we're heading over, myself, my good friend Tony Bainbridge, the geologist, we're heading over for a few weeks and developing a game plan. We're getting dusting off the reserve and the resource. They're a private company, so nobody really heard of Solero, right? So they're a private company, so we have to beef up the reserve and the resource to JORC standards and then get the financial models updated and working, but they're fully operational. They did 143 tons last month in the operation, and they're only getting a very limited recovery, which we see the opportunity. They're getting less than 50% recovery in the operation. At Carbine, we get 80 to 85% recovery currently, and we think there is some synergies that we can get that up to probably at least 65, and that will be a big game changer. Plus, put sorting in to reduce the operating cost.
Why was it on the market? I mean, if it's an operating tungsten mine over there in Spain, you mentioned Oak Tree Capital Management. Talk to us around why was it even on the market?
Yeah, it's kind of break even, and so I think Oak Tree had been in there for quite a while, and what Oak Tree did is invested. They put 25 million private placement when the deal closes, which it hasn't closed yet, but we're very close. Is into us as a private placement, so they see us as taking over the operation and them gaining a big bump on the share price in EQ Resources by having both assets producing and making cash. And again, they're a long-term player in the industry, so they see the consolidation as a very good thing, having a good solid management team behind it. And yeah, we think that the two projects put together make us the largest tungsten producer in the Western world.
That's a good thing, but I just want to come back to the deal if we could again. So Oak Tree,
Yep.
what's the economics behind it? What'd you buy it for? What's Oak Tree? I think Oak Tree put in 25 million, but in return they get a number of shares in EQ Resources. I think 9 cents a
Yeah,
share.
about 15%, about 15% of EQ Resources. They put it in at a premium to market at 9 cents a share. They put that in at a premium to market. And so Solaro has about 35 million euro worth of debt on it. So we've acquired the debt on the joint companies will acquire the debt on Solaro, and then Oak Tree puts a 25 million Aussie dollar placement into EQ Resources at a premium to market.
Okay. So that 25 million, is that all going to be focused in Spain, or are you going to break it up into, how does that work?
No, we announced it's sort of going a third to pay down some of the debt, a third into Solero, and a third into Mount Carbine, or into EQ for general corporate purposes.
So a third, paying down some of the debt. So you'll still have some debt on the project. Is one of the focuses going to be to get rid of that debt by increasing?
Yeah, yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's held by very solid banks in Spain, first tier banks. The interest rates are very low on that debt. It's a very low interest rate. Oaktree are standing behind that debt for 18 months. And yeah, our main initiative will be to pay down that debt. There's some European EU funds that we're looking at as well to see if they can help with some of that debt because they want tungsten desperately in Europe. So yeah, we're working on a few initiatives there to be able to reduce that debt as quickly as possible.
Some of our audience might actually ask you about Spain as a jurisdiction. We all know Australia, Mount Carbine, far north of Queensland. What
Yeah.
better than that? But Spain, are they pro mining? Have you got infrastructure around? Oh, you said it's an operating mine. You just
Yeah,
need.
yeah, yeah. No, it's a world-class operation infrastructure. The community loves them. That was one of our big concerns going in, doing the due diligence. How is that going to play out environmentally? What's the support for the project? So yeah, very good support. It's up in the north. The ham is delicious up there, the Iberian ham. So that's a bonus, right? So anyway, yeah, but it is good. Sorry.
Um,
Yeah.
so, two projects, very different. From Kevin O'Neill's point of view as CEO, where's your focus going to be? Do you focus equally on both, or in the ramp up with Spain, is there a little bit more focus on that for the moment to get it to
Yeah,
where?
certainly with Carbine. Yeah, certainly with Carbine, Carrie, as we got it to a stage now that we're really ramping it up. Like you see the announcement today, where we're really hitting our stripes there, and the pit's settling down, the mining's getting into shape. So Tony and I are quite comfortable. Obviously, I'm a fairly hands-on operator, as you see. I'm mostly in high vis at the mine site, right? And I will be in at Solaro as well. And so, yeah, it's the way of the world now in the communications. It's not an easy thing for sure because I am a hands-on operator, but it's in very good hands at Mount Carbine. We spent 3 years. We got a really good, solid management team there, so I'm quite comfortable to move on to the next challenge. But I will be spending sort of 50-50 time on both projects.
If you were to
And
just,
Wolfram Camp, you're forgetting about our acquisition of Wolfram Camp as well. So we got yeah, Wolfram Camp, the mine, the old tungsten mine. We also, with the government, we were awarded the rights for the Wolfram Camp. So we'll be, but that falls in. We've always said that we're creating a tungsten hub around Mount Carbine, and we'll do the same in Spain.
so there's plenty of upside at Mount Carbine, but do you think the market hasn't quite recognized what you're doing at Mount Carbine? Because a market cap of 100 mil seems a little light to me. And I know every CEO goes, oh, it's undervalued. But what do you think? Do you think the market's not recognizing I guess, the strength of the management to be able to take EQ Resources to the next level?
Yeah, no, I think it's just proving, seeing is believing. Tungsten. Some people don't know what tungsten is. They don't, they don't understand it. It's not copper. It's not gold. So there's your first strike, and this and that. You can go down the list, right? But we have world-class jurisdictions. We got great assets in both those projects. And we told the market what we're going to do at Mount Carbine. We're delivering on that. So eventually it always comes back to value at the end of the day, whether your share price is down today or up tomorrow, whatever, right? It follows value. The market, the smart guys are already chasing and doing due diligence on us, and the small funds and stuff like that. So I think you'll see it come
Yeah.
or at the correct value based on cash flows.
Do you think with the US turning around and saying we're not going to buy tungsten from China from 2026, is that going to be a bit of a game changer for EQ Resources?
We think so. We think that the tungsten price and the refiners that we sell it to, these are all stimulus for tungsten price, right? When obviously the demand for Western tungsten hits, and there's only a couple of suppliers around for it, so the price has to go up, right?
One would hope so, and I think a very smart acquisition over there in Spain, because now you've got two projects, two different jurisdictions, bit of de-risking going on, but we are running out of time, Kevin. Sorry about this.
Yeah.
Talk to you for ages. I'd like to wrap things up, if you like, Kevin. Our audience would like to know, why should they be sitting up and taking notice of EQ Resources right now?
I think there's a couple things, but cash flow at Mount Carbine should hit fairly hard and fast over the next quarter. Not so much this quarter, but next quarter. I think it'll really be hitting its straps, and it's pretty significant. So we're getting in there. So you're going to start to see a cash play, right, on Carbine. And then secondly, turning around Solero in Spain. I think that's going to add credibility to the company that has a turnaround management team, right? So yeah, so that's and I guess just like, if you're looking for a mining company with a conscience and ESG, and we certainly carry, we won the environmental award at AMEC last year. We have very good ESG credentials. You can find them on our website, but we do spend a lot of time and effort on the ESG aspect as well.
Yeah, we didn't cover that because we ran out of time, but Kevin, I think it's great. Come back and chat to us again as you get the Spanish. I keep saying Spanish Inquisition, but the Spanish acquisition underway. Let's get you
That's
back.
subliminal.
So let's get you back on soon. But in the meantime, enjoy the Spanish ham. Get stuck into that new position, and we'll look forward to chatting to you in the near future. Thanks for joining me today.